Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to RaShana Reveals. This is a space where I carry out my mission of championing others in their journey to discover the best versions of themselves and empowering them to make a positive difference in the world. I'm RaShana and I am excited to have you here. Before we get into today's topic, I invite you to join me on this ride by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing all of my episodes with your friends, families, loved ones, co-workers, church members, companies I mentioned, and anyone else you can think of. Now, let's get to it. So in thinking of what this week's topic should be, my thoughts continuously brought me back to something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is the topic of mental health. And this subject, although it's very important, people don't really like to touch on for various reasons, and I definitely get it and I understand it. But I, right now at this moment, am not afraid to broach the subject. I'm sure that we'll be discussing this topic over the course of several episodes, but I wanted to at least lay the foundation today, especially given what we've been going through in our nation for the past few months. We've been under heavy stress from everything, and everything includes the pandemic, being quarantined, loss of loved ones, the decline of the stock market, leading to losing money, lots of jobs and an increase in unemployment, increased racial tensions stemming from police brutality, retaliatory riots, looting, the loss of officers' lives as well, job-related stress, and a plethora of other issues. I, for one, am majorly stressed and have been doing my hardest just to keep it together, and I feel like I'm failing. So I have decided personally to take advantage of our insurance company's EAP program. And that's called, the EAP stands for the Employee Assistance Program. So I had one session this week, and of course that's the introductory session where they ask you all of these questions and they fit you into a program that works best for you. I have to say I'm nervous, but I am happy and grateful that I have the opportunity to take advantage of a program that I feel is going to definitely help bring me out of the hole that I feel like I'm sinking in. Having said that, I want to reveal this to you. So today, RaShana reveals that I have been diagnosed with clinical depression. This diagnosis came approximately 15 years ago, and it wasn't too long after I had my second son. As I sit here in front of you guys today, I've actually never read the definition of what clinical depression is. So what I'm going to do is read you what it is so that we all can have a better understanding of it. According to the Mayo Clinic, clinical depression is the more severe form of depression, also known as major depression or major depressive disorder. Signs and symptoms of clinical depression may include feelings of sadness, tearfulness, emptiness, or hopelessness, angry outbursts, irritability, or frustration even over small matters, loss of interest or pleasure in most or all normal activities such as sex, hobbies, or sports, sleep disturbances including insomnia or sleeping too much, tiredness and lack of energy, so even small tasks take extra effort, reduced appetite and weight loss or increased cravings for food and weight gain, anxiety, agitation or restlessness, slowed thinking, speaking or body movements, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, fixating on past failures or self-blame, trouble thinking, concentrating, making decisions, and remembering things, frequent or recurrent thoughts of death, suicidal thoughts, suicide attempts, or suicide, and unexplained physical problems such as back pain or headaches. Wow, this is a long list, and this is a lot. I can honestly and openly say that I have experienced every single one of these symptoms. Every single one of these symptoms. And most often for me, these symptoms occur simultaneously. I will honestly say as well that I can never remember a time in my life where I was ever truly happy. For as long as I can remember, even being as a young girl, I never found joy or happiness in anything. That's not to say that I didn't have a good life. I think I did have a good life, especially compared to my friends whose parents were going through divorces or who were getting abused in one way, shape, or form, had to contend with a parent's addictions or issues, and I never really experienced any of that. However, I can't even explain why I was never really happy. Emotionally, I always felt very sad and very empty. I can remember wanting to feel loved, striving for attention from my mom especially, and I think acting was my way of bearing a lot of the sadness that I felt inside. When I was about 12 or 13, I got into a fight with my mother, and it was pretty bad on me emotionally. So I thought that life would be better if I took my own life. And so I started sleeping with a knife under my pillow because I wanted to commit suicide. Well, thank God my mom actually found the knife. She was making up my bed one night and found the knife, and she reamed me a new butthole. She was very, very angry with me and very disappointed in me, and her reaction just really stopped me from ever trying to contemplate suicide again. In the Black community, most oftentimes it's such a stigma, a negative stigma, talking about your feelings, giving your kids the opportunity to share what they're thinking with you, going to counseling. We don't do that, right? So I never really got any help. I never saw a counselor. Everything was always about praying the bad away. We were taught, especially as being Christians and inundated in that religious background, to pray everything away. So I would always pray to God and talk to God, and never felt that He answered my prayers because I never felt happy. And that's what I always sought, was true happiness and peace in my heart, and never really got it. I went through my entire childhood just not getting better. I didn't really understand what was going on. I just knew that this was probably the way that I would have to live the rest of my life. So I never talked to anybody about it. I never sought help about it. My friends didn't know anything. My sister definitely didn't know anything. And my parents didn't know anything. This, I believe, led to a lot of trials and tribulations in my life. I even though I had a lot of angry outbursts during different times, a lot of the times I was quiet, and a lot of the times bad things happened to me and I never addressed it or said anything. I was 18 years old when I was sexually molested by someone in college. I was about 21 years old when my cousin's husband pulled a gun on me and threatened to kill my son if I didn't do everything that he wanted me to do. I had a fiance that I went to visit one Christmas holiday in the state that he lived in, or moved to actually, and because of the lifestyle he lived, he slept with weapons. And he fell asleep on the couch one day and thought that I was coming to rob him, so he pulled out a gun on me and almost shot me. And so by the time I was about late 22, early 23, all of these things had happened to me, and I started working a new job, and a friend of mine, a young lady who actually became a really great friend of mine, advised me to get help. And at the job both of us worked at, it was Barry University, I think I could say that, there were nuns who were counselors. And so I decided to get help, and I decided to go to counseling, and I never felt like I got any reprieve from counseling. I never felt that it helped to talk to her. I didn't feel a connection with this person, maybe because she was a nun, maybe because all she suggested was that I pray, maybe because she advised me to confront the person that raped me, maybe because she advised me to tell my family what had happened when I was living up north with my cousins, maybe because I just didn't like her. I don't know why I never connected with her. I don't know why I never took her advice, but I played along, and I figured going to a couple of counseling sessions would help me at least bury the things that I was feeling and move forward in my life. However, I feel that I just got angrier. I feel like I got sadder. I feel like I was less patient. I mean, my patience was already pretty low, and I feel like my patience even got less. I didn't find any joy in anything, really. And I was very, very, very unhappy at work at the time. And I got into a really big fight with my boss, and I decided that I needed to leave that job so that I can not put my hands on this lady, and so that I can make a better life for my son and I. I was working 2 jobs actually, and so I was just getting tired of just having to work during the day and work at night. So my mom saw an ad in the paper for a job position that was a community service aide in the city of Hallandale Beach. And it was funny because I've lived in Miami. I was born and raised down here in Miami, and never knew where Hallandale Beach was. I've never even heard of Hallandale Beach because we never came to Broward County. And so I decided to go ahead and apply for the job and got the position, and about 11 months later got hired as a police officer. And I think I should have been happy. You know, I think that I should have been happy having been provided the opportunity to make a better life for myself and my son. I think I should have been happy at the time because I became the first Black female police officer for the city. All of these things were falling into place. I finally bought my first condo. I never had to rent from anybody. And so I was investing in myself and I was investing in my future. I was dating my ex-husband. And so when one from the outside looked at my life, people would assume that I was okay. People would assume that I was happy. People would assume that I was this single mom who made it through, who defied all odds and made a better life for her child. But I really just wasn't happy. And so I would question a lot of things about myself. Am I worth it? Is it enough? Do I have enough? No, it's not enough. I've got to have more. I've got to work more to have more money. I've got to work harder to drive a better car. I've got to work harder so that I could be invested for my future. I have to work harder to show the people that I work with that I'm actually worthy of this position. And no matter what I did, I could never turn the page. And that led to me being very pushy in terms of wanting to be married. As little girls, most girls think of wearing the white dress and walking down the aisle to their Prince Charming. And I read a lot of books when I was younger, a lot of books. And a lot of these books were romance novels because I was searching. I was searching for love. I was searching for that Prince Charming. I was searching for that place that I could disappear to and be in this world that wasn't the world that I lived in. And so I craved that. I wanted that. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be married before 30. I wanted to have 4 kids. I wanted to have the white picket fence. And my ex-husband at the time, I really don't think that he was ready for it. But because him and I had this back and forth pull in our relationship, he just conceded. And so we got married. So then you think, okay, now you got married. You had this beautiful wedding. Your friends and family were there to cheer you guys on. And I just wasn't happy. And our relationship really started off wrong. And I was trying my best to do everything to keep this marriage together because, of course, in the Black household, again, you don't get divorced. You marry one time, you work out your problems, you don't talk about your problems, and so you just go through this life and you do what you have to do, especially for the sake of your children. And so I had another son and thought that would make me happier. And after his birth, I started to think to myself, this is the second time I've given birth, and I really wasn't happy about it. In the movies, you see these women, screaming and hollering with their legs up, and the child plops out, right? And then they embrace this baby, and they're smiling, and they're laughing, and they're cooing, and they're kissing this child, and they're kissing their husband or their significant other, and this child just brings this beautiful thing to your life where you're so fulfilled and you're so happy. And I never got that. I never got that feeling. And this just continued on and on and on and on and on. And finally, one day I remember I got into a bad fight with my ex-husband. And I was so mad that I slid a glass mirror from the bathroom counter and it broke. And I was holding my baby. And that was the moment that I decided to get help. I really, really needed some help. I looked at that glass on the floor and I looked at my life shattered on that ground. I couldn't even pick up the pieces. I couldn't pick up the pieces of my life. And I do remember. It was a co-worker of mine who told me about his struggles with his life, and he was sharing some things with me at the time. And so I called him and was like, hey, I need the number to your therapist. I really need some help. And that's how it all started. That's how I started going to counseling. That's how I started to try to uncover things in my life that I needed to figure out. I needed to try to find a way out. I also, at that time, started to get more depressed. It was so bad, the depression was so bad that oftentimes I wouldn't get out of bed for days at a time. Like all of my days off from work, if I had 4 days off in a row, I would spend 4 days in bed. And my oldest son literally became my husband. Like he would take care of me. And there was just a time where I was just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. You know, I just don't want to keep going. But I knew that I had children that were looking up to me. I knew that I had a good paying job. I knew that I had my parents who loved me and family and friends. So I just continued to push forward. And over the course of the years, you know, I've had my share of ups and downs. During the course of the years, I've been really, really low. And during the course of the years, I've actually believed that I did find happiness. And I've been chasing that happiness ever since. And so with everything going on nationwide, worldwide, I've really been trying my hardest to not sink into the hole, to not bury myself. I know that there are times where I do fall into the hole and I'm able to pick myself up through boxing, working out, hanging out with friends. But I don't really talk. I mean, I do talk, but I don't talk, if that makes any sense. I am an introvert by nature, so a lot of people don't know that I go through a lot of things. A lot of people don't understand that I do have clinical depression. There are times where I will not talk. There are times where I just don't want to be bothered. And then there are times when somebody will call me and check up on me, and then I'll be like, okay. I start talking and I start feeling better. I'll start talking to the mister and I'll start feeling better. The kids have given me a lot more hope and a lot more joy because our relationship has gotten better throughout the years. And so right now I just kind of find myself teetering on the brink. You know, I'm walking that fine line. And so I know that I can't just rely on prayer. I'm going to be honest. Yes, I believe in God. It doesn't change my mind about my Lord and Savior. I believe that God is there to help us and guide us through this journey we call life. But it's just like the example of baking. You know, I can have all the ingredients sitting in front of me, but if I don't utilize those ingredients, if I don't put those ingredients in a bowl and mix it together and put it in the oven to bake, I will not get a cake. And so I believe that prayer is a tool. I believe that constant prayer is a tool, but I also believe that I've got to do the work. I've got to take the steps. And so now I'm starting to feel a little bit better, having confidence and hope that these counseling sessions will help, and so that I can find some balance and some sense of normalcy again. And so what I offer to you guys is do what it takes to feel better. Do what it takes to increase your mental health, to practice self-care, whether that means, well, right now we can't really do it. Can we do it or can we do it? Can we go to the spa yet? Does anybody know if we can go to the spa? I don't know. Go to the spa with your girls. Have brunch with your friends. Have deep conversations about anything that's on your heart or your mind. Open up and challenge yourself to do something new. We started a walk challenge in our keto WAC fam Facebook group. Shout out to my girl Autumn Jones Weathers now. But we started a walking challenge with the Nike Run app. That's making me feel good. Challenge yourself to create new normals like hobbies and going out for your dreams, side hustling, whatever it is that you feel will help get you out of whatever funk you're in. Try counseling, prayer, meditation, whatever it is, just try it. It's not going to be easy. This is a journey that I struggle with every single day. Every single day is a fight. Every single day I open up my eyes, I have to choose at that moment whether I'm going to move forward or whether I'm going to stay stuck where I'm at. And every single day I've got to fight the demons of depression. And every single day I've got to choose whether I'm going to live my life or whether I'm going to figuratively die. And so no matter what you guys are going through today, I know that it may not be easy. I know that taking those first steps is very scary, but figure out your why. Figure out why you want to get better. Figure out what your purpose is in life. Find out what makes your heart happy and go for it. You're going to fall a few times. Sometimes you might have to sit on the floor for a few minutes, but then pick yourself up or reach your hand out so that somebody else can help you get up off of that floor. With everything going on today, don't let yourself get buried in that hole. I'm going to stop there. I know that this is much bigger than one episode. This is much bigger than today's episode. I definitely want to expand on this topic. I want to bring some people in with me to talk about, what they may be going through or what their struggles are. And this is something that I feel that is needed and necessary. And so I thank you guys for listening to me today. I thank you guys for joining me today. Remember to smile at a stranger, compliment someone, speak positively out into the universe, and watch your life change for the better. I'm RaShana. This is RaShana Reveals. Come back next episode and find out what RaShana will reveal next.